This lady has come home, and believe it or not, Jules, I specifically told this lady, Bumpy says he wants somebody to be intimate with at this moment that I'm not. Let it be. She's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. You're always here. You're always talking to Bumpy. Why not?
This is what you told her?
Yeah. Because now for me, what I was thinking is if I gave Bumpy one specific concerned person, the rest of the women would go. And I'd be able to control this woman. So in one way or another, I had the upper hand. I did, in fact, did not have an upper hand. So the baby came. She's been there 3 weeks. The baby has come.
What do you mean, living there?
She's been with us every single day.
Does she live there? What do you mean by with you?
She's there Monday to Friday or Monday to Wednesday.
Does she sleep in your matrimonial home?
Yes.
In whose bedroom?
She wouldn't sleep in the bedroom. Bumpy and I would sleep in the bedroom. She'd sleep in the mattress in the sitting room.
Okay.
She was there always. She would clean the house. She'd make me breakfast. She'd get me ready if I needed to go for a clinic, to make my nails. She was there.
You know why I was asking if what was informing this? Because even as you're talking right now, it doesn't sound bad, but it's not something that you had agreed to.
Yes.
You're kind of doing this because your hands are tied. Because I know there are situations where, co-wives take care of each other.
Yes.
And it's something everyone is privy to. I know there are challenges there.
Yes.
Every side, everything. Monogamy has a flip side. Polyamory has a flip side.
Yeah.
Polyandry has a flip side. Like every side has a but.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, was Bumpy like, listen, I'm polyamorous, and she's going to come help us. Like, even when she's cooking, you're not saying, why are you cooking? You're only supposed to like sexually meet my husband's needs. What are you still doing here? Do you understand my question?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand what is this I'm listening to.
At this time, if she's cooking, I'm too pregnant to even stand on my feet. So I didn't mind. I didn't think about it. And then the funny thing is, she was there to satisfy Bumpy's sexual needs, but they were never, ever sexual in the 3 weeks that she was there until my delivery. Not a single day, because I was in the house all through, because I've taken maternity leave. So I'm there, I'm going nowhere. I'm swollen, I'm there. She was never intimate with him. But the thing is, she complained. She complained to me. She's like, why is Bumpy, even if I try, he always turn me down? And I'm like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. And it's not my place to talk to him. But I'd ask, do you want me to talk to him? And she's like, yeah. So I go back with a complaint I've been given by this woman to Bumpy. And Bumpy's like, no, I don't think I'm ready. But once I am, I know she's there. So I'm like, okay. So I asked Bumpy, you said you'd want someone. The someone is here. And you seem comfortable having her around. What do you want? She's like, no, since you're very much not able to do everything around the house, how about right now she just helps around? And I went back to this woman and told her exactly what Bumpy told me. And asked her, is that something you're okay with? And she's like, yeah. So that's the dynamic. That's what we had. So she'd come, go home to her house as she pleases. She'd stay over as long as she pleases. And even on the day that I went to hospital, now to deliver, she also was there. She took me to hospital together with Bumpy. And at that moment, of course, I'm not thinking about what they're doing at that point. I'm now here. It's me and my baby. My one role is to get this baby out of me safely and be also okay, you see. And that's what I did. Got into hospital, gave birth very well, my baby healthy. And on the day, I even called my mom, told my mom, your granddaughter is here. I also tried to get a hold of Bumpy, but since they had left hospital very late, I guessed he was asleep. So I called Bumpy and I couldn't get him. So I called this lady. I'm like, tell Bumpy his daughter is here. And since I was tired, I just hung up and went to sleep. They were also the first ones to come see the baby together. And I thought nothing about it now, because even after leaving hospital, my role was ensure you have enough breast milk, ensure you're eating enough, you're taking enough fluids. I didn't have time to think outside of that. So one day, my healing after pregnancy, after giving birth, was very, very fast. I had no tears, no nothing major. So one day, I'm asking Bumpy, we've gone for our check, the 6-week check. I'm good. So I ask Bumpy on our way back. When I'm starting action again, it's like, the doctor has just released you. Just give it time, give it time. I also feel like you're very delicate. So let me understand you a little bit. And I was like, okay, makes sense. This whole time, this other lady is also still complaining they're not intimate. It's been now almost a month and a half. She's been home, no intimacy. And Bumpy made her vow her faithfulness to Bumpy.
This is so bizarre.
So this lady cannot get sex anywhere else except from Bumpy. And Bumpy is not giving her sex. So she's wondering, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? And she didn't mind because she'd help around the child with my daughter. I never had to move. If my daughter cried and she was in the crib, she'd wake up, give me the child. My thermos was filled with uji, water, food, everything.
Was Bumpy and you catering to her financial needs as well?
No.
Did she have a job?
Yes. She worked online, so she'd work there. Finish work, all that. She did everything in her household, especially after my daughter came. Everything.
Was she also around your age? Or older? Or more towards Bumpy's age?
No, a bit older than me, 2-3 years older than I am. So I never, at that point, as a new mom, I was like, she's helpful because otherwise I'm sure at some point I'd have to wake up in case Bumpy has gone to the gym or the likes. So I didn't mind and I didn't think anything of it. So I just enjoyed that. But now the thing is, on days that I told Bumpy my friends, now my circle was coming over to our house to visit the baby, Bumpy would ask this lady to leave. So she'd leave. My best friend would stay over the whole week, help around and all. And then after immediately my friend and my best friend leave, she's back. And back into the routine, back into doing whatever she was doing. So one day I asked Bumpy, okay, the baby's here, this lady's still here. You don't want to be intimate with me. You also don't want to be intimate with this lady. What's your deal? Bumpy's like, you know what? I actually, for a second, want us to start on a clean slate. And I'm like, what's your clean slate looking like? He's like, my clean slate looks like I want her to go. And I want this household to just have you, me, and my daughter. And I was happy. I'm like, finally, something that I'm okay with, comfortable with, something that is not me fixed in a specific cage. And that happened. But before Bumpy would tell this lady of, like, ask her to leave, because you just can't wake up and tell her, get up and leave. He said he'll handle it. So before that happened, I've been told we're starting on a clean slate. So it's this one specific Saturday. We've said it's going to be movie night. But I feel very tired, very sleepy. So I say I'll go to bed early. Sunday morning, I'm woken up by my daughter screaming. And I'm like, wow. I'm usually woken up by, if my daughter screams, one of them is Bumpy or the lady is waking me up to give me my daughter to breastfeed. None of that happened. And I'm like, maybe they're just watching a movie because it's Sunday morning. I go to the washroom. I go take water. I make some tea. And I'm like, hey, all these commotions, these people can't hear me. But I can hear the movie. It's like loud. So I go back. I breastfeed my daughter. And I change her and I put her down. So I go to the sitting room and I'm like, why can't you people hear me? Why haven't you heard your daughter crying? I open the door and it's this specific man that told me he wants everything in a clean slate, having sex with this woman on the mattress that's down there. I just walk in awe, look at him. I'm like, Bumpy, interesting. This is a clean slate. Nice to know. Close the door and go back, hold my daughter. I am crying, I'm angry, and I'm just like, you know what? It's okay. He came back a few minutes later, and I asked him, what the hell was that? What's going on? You're supposed to be asking her to leave, not be deep inside her. What's going on? With a straight face, this man tells me, I was thinking with my lower head. I'm sorry. I was like, okay, interesting. I did not talk about it again, but I did not let that man touch me ever again. My sexual switch just went all off. The lights were out. I did not want him to touch me. I did not want him to sleep next to me. It got to a point I didn't want him to even hold our daughter. And I'd tell him, I feel like you're just a dirty man walking, that nothing you even pronounce with your mouth is actually what you want. And I'd be very specific. You said you want to start on a clean slate. Your clean slate doesn't look clean, but that's on you. And that lady left. After a while, he noticed that I actually don't want to be intimate with him. But one specific day, I was having wine because the doctor said I can have some. I was excited. 2 glasses in, we got intimate. And I woke up and I immediately just felt a layer of disgust on me. And I just knew this is not something I wanted. I didn't talk about it. I just moved on. And I was like, let's just find it in us to forgive him and move on as well. And immediately after that, a week later, Bumpy was back to talking to his women, including the woman who just left the house. He's talking to her about he's miserable being with me. He wishes that she was the wife because she seems more understanding. How I don't want even to be intimate with him and it's bothering him. How I'm nagging him and all. He had a lot of complaints. So I read them and every switch now in me started going off one by one. I was like, okay, emotionally disconnected, physically disconnected, anything. I was just going disconnected. So one day he wanted to be intimate with me and I told him I don't want. He got very, very mad. He pinned me on the wall. His hand is on my neck and he got intimate with me with like in that specific position.
Oh my God.
I just left, went showered and just moved on.
You mean he raped you?
Yeah, that's the word, right? And I was just like, okay. Next time he asked politely, can we be intimate? I'm like, no. Like, I honestly and genuinely don't want it. And I can see his frustration. He's like, now what do you want me to do? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, now at this point, my anger and my calmness is, I just can't. I'm unable. So I tell him, you have so-and-so you can go to, you have so-and-so, you have so-and-so, and you have so-and-so. Why are you here? You complain to so-and-so and so-and-so about how nagging I am, how this and this and that. And since that's what they are, why not be with them? It's like, no, I want to be with you. But as usual, you're not a submissive person. You're not peaceful. And I'm like, and I won't be. If me being that means that you're allowed to talk ill about me and everything, then no. And I'll storm out. He came, pulled my hair, slapped me, punched me. And I'm like, why? And then at the end, he pushed me towards the wall that I hit the corner of the wall. So I had like, my head was swollen. And he apologizes as usual. And I also apologize. And that was a cycle for like 2-3 months. That's all we would do. I'd find out about a woman. He'd hit me. He'd apologize. We'd move on. Find out. Hit me. Apologize. Move on. That's what we did. One specific time, I remember I now needed to go back to work. Because the money he had apparently measure. And now he's telling me, oh, we can't afford a nanny, we can't afford this. And I'm like, I cannot survive without that nanny. Because being this new mom is not easy. I need that help. You're not always home. So it's not going to work. He's like, it's okay. So he's like, you need to figure out then how we'll pay the nanny. And I'm like, it's okay, I'll go back to work. So I started calling up my clients. And I'd ask them, do you want my services back? Do you want my services back? I got my schedule full and I was happy. So I started going back to work. Me going back to work was a bother to Bumpy. It's like, oh, now you want to emasculate me. And I'm like, no, I've not told you not to look for a job. I've not told you not to look for something. I'm just going back to what I was doing prior to pregnancy and giving birth. So he's like, no, but now it means you're earning more, you're providing for us. And I'm like, it's okay, I'll do that until you are able to like come back and do that. And I left it at that. But now I came to notice one specific day he left and told me he's going to a wake with his best friend. A mutual friend of theirs had passed and they need to go. And I told him, it's okay. You need to leave. You've also been in the house with the baby. You've been hands-on a lot. Let me now bond with the baby. I specifically sent him money to go have coffee, have lunch, whatever he'll do with the boys. Because I know he's not been working and I'm the one who's earning in the house. And I used to do this a lot. It wasn't a bother for me. So once we did that, he left. And my intuition just told me, there's one specific lady we used to fight about a lot. My intuition just told me, I feel like he's with this lady. And the reason was because I asked him, communicate with me throughout, also just to get to know if I'm okay. I was like, you're leaving me with, the child was, I think, a few months. So I was like, you're leaving me with this child. The child is new to me. I'm also new to the child. Like, I'm not used to it by now. He's like, it's okay. He gets there and communication goes off. No picking of calls, no replying text. And if a text it's replied, it's one word after 2-3 hours. And I was just like, this behavior seems familiar when it's with this specific person. I talked to a mutual friend we had with the lady I allegedly thought Bumpy had gone to see, and told this lady, I think Bumpy has gone to see so-and-so. And since you're closer to so-and-so, please just find out for me. You'll just have done me a solid one, because I've been thinking of leaving this marriage and I'm just looking for strong reasons why. So this would be among them. She's like, sure, bet. She finds the information and she actually was sent a video of Bumpy in that woman's house, seated on her bed. I was sent, I saw it, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. Kept quiet. Later on, as Bumpy told me, we finished with the boys, I'm on my way back. This lady that Bumpy was just from called me. She was like, your man was here, and I can clearly see we're always having a back and forth, because I've heard of you in the past, and I'm hearing of you right now, and right now I'm hearing it in different dynamics, and I'm like, what are the dynamics? It's like, now my friend has told me you're married to him, you have his baby, and like, I'm like, yes. She even asked me, did you do anything to show you're married? I'm like, our parents met, his elders and my elders met. I feel like traditionally that's strong. It's like, okay, well, this is my man. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Also, in her mind, that was her man.
Yeah. And I'm like, ask her why. And she tells me, this is my man because we've gone to Diani together. We stayed in Airbnbs for days together. Where were you in those situations? And I'm like, when did you go to Diani? She's like, this day to this day. And I'm like, I was told he was at work. When did you go to the Airbnb? This day to this day. And I was like, I had gone to my mom's. Like, oh. So every time he was going out for travel, it was with this lady. And anytime I said I'm going to spend time with my mom or sleep over at my best friends or something, he was also with this lady, or she would come home to our house. Yeah. And I was perplexed. I could not understand. Bumpy came home. I could see that the clothes that Bumpy had are the same ones I was shown for a fact. I showed Bumpy what I had. But at the moment I was showing Bumpy the video of him in that woman's bed, he had changed, because I was outside and hanging the clothes and our daughter was asleep. On coming back, he's changed, because he was on a bike, so he's changed. So I was assuming maybe he felt cold, he needed to warm up. He came, he's changed, and I asked him, I show him, he's like, with a straight face, he told me, but that's not what I was wearing. I asked him, what do you mean? I saw you leaving and I've seen you come. I know what you're wearing. He hid the clothes because that lady had told him that I now knew he was here. So he hid the clothes under the bed and took me till the laundry basket and showed me, here, I've not changed. I've just removed a hoodie and he put another hoodie there. And he told me, but see, so you're always just being told something by other women and you're always believing it. And I'm like, on this one, no. This one is straight from my intuition and I'm not going to betray it. And I told him that and I'm like, if that's how you want to manipulate me, it's fine, but I know you are at this woman's house. And he goes ahead as telling me, we can call her. And I'm like, yes, take out your phone. Take out your phone. And I even have her number on my Truecaller. So I'll just search her name and I will call. And he slaps me. Not once, not twice, not thrice. It's just a series of slaps. And I'm like, why? I'm screaming at this point. The moment he hears me screaming, he closes the door and hides the keys. So I'm screaming, I'm like, why are you slapping me? He's like, because you're always letting other women tell you your insecurities have led us to this point. And I'm like, what insecurities? And he tells me, you're insecure about your new body, your tummy, you have stretch marks. And I'm like, so do the women you are with. There's no woman living here that does not have stretch marks. We grow. We are moving. We are evolving. We come with stretch marks. You also have stretch marks. So why? No, you're just jealous. You have a lot of insecurities. And I'm like, no, Bumpy.
Did you ever tell him that you have insecurities? Not that it matters, honestly, but like, did you?
I did. The first time I got my baby, I told him I'm not used to my new size.
And you're actually so petite. You're literally like a size 6, right? 6 or 8?
Actually, now I'm 10, 12.
Okay, yeah, but you're still very slim.
tight.
Yeah.
So prior, I was 4'6". I was a size 4'6", and now I'm up to 10, 12. It's something I was not used to. I didn't know what to do with a curvy body.
I hope you know you look so good.
Yes,
Sophia.
now I do. Thank you very
look
much.
so like my dream body is a size 10. What?
So I didn't know what to do with a small waist and a bum and hip. I didn't know how to dress it. I didn't know where to begin. And for the longest part, it wasn't because, not that I didn't know, it's because my husband that was supposed to validate, or I feel was supposed to validate my after pregnancy body, did not. Instead, he really body shamed it. It was, your stretch marks don't look good. They're too dark. Your tummy is way too dark than the rest of your body. Oh, those clothes are now way too tight. You can't do this, you can't do that. It was always something I couldn't do. My body was never the right body. However, the women he complimented and chose to be with were bigger, way bigger, which didn't make sense. So in my head, for the longest time throughout that marriage, I always compared and tried to fit in to this specific woman Bumpy had gone to see. That's what I tried to do. Dress, talk, act, everything. I really tried to be that in my mind. Maybe he'll see me. He didn't. So this day he's hit me, he's closed the door. And I'm like, I just can't take this anymore, Bumpy. This is just way too much. It's always something. If I tell you about something you're doing, it's always me. I'm not a peaceful wife. I'm insecure. I'm listening to other people. And I'm like, no. So that day he hit me, it was the first time I told my best friend that Bumpy hit me. My best friend was like, was it the first time? It wasn't the first time, but I told her yes. I was so ashamed. I was filled with guilt, shame, and anger. My best friend is like, maybe talk to him and see what's going on. And I'm like, okay, let's try. So I'm trying. I Googled how to ask submissively talk to your husband so that he can just talk to me without the anger, without the heating. I went, spoke to him. He said something outrageous, of course, and I went crazy. I'm also talking back. He's hit me. Makia was hit last night. Today's another night. I'm being hit again. And I for the first time, I just told Bumpy that, honestly, Bumpy, eventually, we are going to get divorced. He's like, no, you have a child of this compound. You will never leave this compound. And I was like, yeah, okay. So I asked him, what happens to the children that you sire that are from this family and this compound? And I was like, your other child is your child.
Oh, yes, there was the lady with the birth certificate. So it was his child?
It was his child.
And you knew this?
Yes.
Okay. So
she did a DNA test that I paid for.
Oh my God.
So she was pregnant, yes. And the other
Did his
baby
mom know?
No.
His okay.
There was also the baby mama. So I was like,
Oh yes, yes, yes.
you've been having children and they're not in this compound. And I feel like the moment they're not in this compound, they're suddenly doing well. So what again are you going to be telling me? He went crazy. He punched me. At this moment, I was punched in my ribs and I could feel I'm not breathing. And I could feel like I'm tasting blood in my mouth. And I'm like, what's going on? By the time I'm processing this, he slapped me. He's pulled my hair. He's banged me on the wall. I can hear my daughter scream and I'm like, Bumpy, our daughter is screaming because you're making me scream. Have some decency. And he's like, I don't care. I really don't care. You're here disrespecting me, disrespecting this household, disrespecting our marriage just because of some women. And I'm like, wow. It was never him. He was never at fault. It was always me. And I was hit. And by the time he was going to now get my daughter because she was crying, I was not bleeding. My eyelid had swollen because I had banged myself on the wall. My rib felt like it was broken because I could taste blood in my mouth. Like I had blood in my mouth. And I just sat down where he left me and I was crying and I was asking myself honestly, why? 2 days went by, I couldn't go to work. How am I going to explain to my clients, why is my lip busted? Why is my nose swollen? Why is my eyelid so... I don't have an explanation. Plus, I'd been lying so many times to my clients about the bruises I have. It now felt like my clients are just going to suspect me now. I stayed home for a week. I lost clients during that week because they could not understand the inconsistency. I couldn't tell them of the inconsistency. There are some clients that are really concerned and really called and could not hang up until I told them the truth. They would tell me, it's okay, I'll call you later when your husband is not around. And I want you to tell me what's going on.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Whew.
And I had 2 clients that were like, you know what? It's okay, I'll give you this month off. And it was under the condition, you need to leave. I want by the next month, you're done and you've left. And I'm like, okay. I was like, okay. I told my best friend of now everything. One day I just sat down and I told her of the 3 Psalms, of all the heating and everything. And she's like, you can't do this. You have a daughter. It can't go on. And I was like, yes. But every time I said yes, it's true, it can't go on, I still stayed in that marriage. Made no sense. That day I was hit. Week 1, I'm not going to work. After that, it got to a point where he would not allow me to leave the compound with my daughter. Whether I'm going to the shop, no. It got to a point, if he wanted to talk to me and he thought the conversation would get heated, he'd take our daughter to the mom to hold our daughter. And it was crazy. He'd come home, Bumpy would come to the house, we'd talk. He'd hit me. I had to be hit and then go back to his mom, take my daughter as though I've not been hit. This is okay. We were just talking. It was normal marital stuff. And go back to the house, now breastfeed my daughter while crying. So after some time, I got a nanny, of course. One day, my nanny is there. And a few weeks after my nanny was home, I had lost my phone visiting my best friend. It was snatched by one of the Buddha guys. So I'm using a kabambe, the small button phone that we always use. And I think somebody, probably a wrong number, texted me, "Hi dear." And there were very many hi dears like under that number. It wasn't a saved number because I didn't know who it was. So he saw it. I'm in the shower. He's opened the door. He's like, "Oh, these people who are texting you, hi dear, are the ones that are making you here always question me. And these women that I'm always telling you there's nothing to worry about. Is this the reason? They wouldn't even text you anything decent in this time." I'm like, what are you even talking about? What's hi dear? Who's texted that? I don't know anything about it. He tells me there's a number here that has texted you, hi dear, so many times. And I'm like, I have nothing to do with that. I don't know who that is. Because I have nobody who texts me, hi dear. And he doesn't believe me. He yanks me out of the bathroom. And he's like, you need to explain this, hi dear. Is this the reason why you'd sit down and tell me you want to get divorced and eventually we will? I'm like, no, the reason we get divorced is because of you, your anger, and you constantly hitting me. It's like, yeah, if you are peaceful and if you are submissive, I wouldn't need to be hitting you. You have anger issues. And I'm like, okay. I just said, okay. He got mad. He started hitting me. I'm wrapped in a towel at that time. He's hit me. He's thrown the kabambe towards my face. He's like, you and these are my ideas. These are your options. And I'm like, I have no options. Honestly, there's nothing I'm doing wrong. And I don't know the idea who it was. And I'm apologizing. I'm sorry if it offended you. At that time, I don't even know who it is. I don't even know what he's talking about. That went. We slept. I woke up. I'm not going to work. I'm weak too. No work. My nanny has come. I've already started weaning my baby. And my nanny asks, Mama so-and-so, mtoto atakula nini?